This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome to the NBA Team Podcast. I am giving thanks to everybody here for listening. I'm giving, I guess, thanks to my co-host Adam Murray, who is somewhat of a contributor. Sometimes I like Adam Murray's contributions, but sometimes I know homework's coming, and Thanksgiving holiday is supposed to be the time where I turn my brain off and I eat a lot of food and watch football. And now you're sitting here giving me a bunch of homework. What you got for me today?
I was going to say it's a very formal, regal introduction. I was taken aback by it. I'm like, do I need to go put some little like William Regal music under it or something?
Like we've done this before where we use the Thanksgiving theme. I hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving week and their feasting and whatever you do in that time. But
What do you
we
do
do
for
have
Thanksgiving?
things. Where am I going or doing?
What do you do? What is your?
You know that I'm gonna out myself here, and this is really selfish. So every year I usually hang out with my parents or my in-laws, who live in Mississippi. For the first time ever, and I want to say ever, I think I may have had some Thanksgivings where I was out of town and I spent it alone. For the first time ever, I actually played hooky on Thanksgiving last year. Adam, it was the best Thanksgiving I ever had. It was I'm not shitting you. It was the best Thanksgiving I ever had. I watched. Do you remember that game where the Bears and the Lions played last year? And the coach of the Bears, I don't even remember his name anymore. He basically blew it. He blew it. Like he had a drive to win the game and he mismanaged the clock and got fired the next day. I watched that game. I watched a Jean-Benet Ramsey documentary, and I fell asleep in the bed. I fell asleep because my wife and my daughter were out of town and out of state. It was the best Thanksgiving I ever had. No one bothered me. I watched a bunch of basketball and football games, and I fell asleep at 7:00 at night, and it was so great. And I'm gonna do it again. It's my new tradition. I spend Thanksgiving with the one I truly love, myself.
It was Matt Eberflus was
Yes.
the coach
He did
in
not.
Chicago.
Matt
He did not.
Eberflus did not love that Thanksgiving. He lost his job on that day. I did not lose my job on Thanksgiving, but I lost my my work ethic. And that's okay. Some people just need to turn their brains off and watch NBA basketball when work is over. But
So
no.
yes, I did give you some homework of.
But what do you do on Thanksgiving?
This year we're obviously taping this prior to Thanksgiving. This year, I believe, if my planning is correctly, I might be in Sweden for lunch. As
Are you going to be in Denmark for dinner?
breakfast and dinner will be in Denmark. That's where I'll be. Thanksgiving has become less and less a thing. It used to be traditional. Then I'm just like, I particularly do not like dry turkey or any of that stuff. Like stuffing is cool, but stuffing, I could just make that.
I mean, my
anytime.
go-tos are dark meat and devil eggs. So if you don't have devil eggs, I'm not going.
Good. We've never had devil. But anywho, since I don't enjoy the food, I don't really care about it. And then over the past, I'll say 3 or maybe 3 years or so, we just started ordering out and not cooking everything. Everyone's like, that is so much easier. There's no hassle.
That's what I'm saying. Like staycations are the way now. This is the way. Like I'm just tired of spending money and spending gas and spending rest to go
watch
somewhere.
Sports. So
yeah,
anywho,
like, can we just AI these Thanksgivings and we don't have to have the awkward conversation with the uncle who asked me if I still have the same job I had the year, like, so I don't have to have these conversations.
Back then it wasn't the. I remember in the 80s, like it was like, oh yeah, it's day, but it was just another. The games were there, and there were other games, and then the NBA slowly decided to, I guess, just take it off to, I guess, prep for the.
Well,
NBA
they also
Cup
have that
now.
cup. They have the cup now, so that's what Black Friday is. It's the NBA Cup.
And it's so exciting with the ugly courts. Anywho, so we're gonna have. I gave you an assignment of just think positive thoughts. We're gonna throw out all the negativity, which I know will be hard for some teams.
Semi positive thoughts. Like
Just
I'm
no
thinking positive,
positive.
but well, no. You might be starting out with on a positive note, but it ends on a sour note, kind of like the food
Well,
you eat on Thanksgiving.
we have a lot of things, but there has to be something on every team. You're like, you know what? That is one tiny bright spot in that complete dumpster fire known as the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not jumping ahead, but there has to be something that's like, you know what? This player is doing good. This stat line is doing good. This anything is doing good. So let's break it down by division, shall we?
Sure. I'll
Do you
let you
want
lead, and I've got mine loaded up, ready to go. But you give me the team, and I'll just
let's
tee
start with
off
the
from there.
Atlantic. We'll just go down the divisions, which are completely useless, but just for
Tradition's sake.
tradition's sake. So let us start with Boston. I have the one thing that is bringing joy to all the people and be thankful for is Jaylen Brown's spray on hairspray, which is just comedically amazing and is distracting everybody from the awful play that is known as the Boston Celtics.
So okay, so
No, it's Josh Minot is my surprise.
okay. Oh, I thought
But
you were serious about I was about,
no,
no. Well, let me tell you this. So everybody knows it's spray. It's spray on. It's a spray on hairdo. Like everyone knows it. Even Kevin Durant like clapped back at him about him, and Jaylen Brown said, "You're how you're." He had a good line though. He said back to him in a tweet, "Your head looks like a football field." To Kevin Durant. The funny thing about that is when he barrels in on his guy. By the way, Jaylen Brown's averaging like almost 30 points a game. People are saying like he's having an ass season. What the fuck are you talking about?
I believe
Like
he's top 10 in scoring as
he's
of this
doing
recording.
I feel like Jalen's playing really well. Some people are being really harsh on him, especially the Boston media, but I think he's playing well. Anyways, he barrels in to get fouls. When he does, he goes head down like a lot of players do. Well, if you got the spray on, like the black paint's gonna get on the guy's shirt, and
Yep,
it
Jalen
reminds me of
Brunson,
that
Kaishan George.
it reminds me of that Chappelle show segment with Ashley. Do you remember Ashy Larry?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of remember with the guy who rolls the dice, but he's got ash all over him. It's kind of like that. But anyways, you said Josh Minot?
Yes.
Okay. He's been a
He's
surprise.
been because he was just a scrap heap. We need a body at a minimum salary, and he's provided that energy that Joe Mazzulla looks for.
I remember he originally played for the Memphis Tigers. Then he got drafted, went to Minnesota, just never broke through the lineup. And he got moved over to Boston along with Luca Garza, which is funny because I don't think they were a trade. I think they just signed there
They
separately.
both signed independently for minimum deals.
Correct. But we see what's going on. They just needed somebody because they lost Horford, so they've been playing him and Neemias Queta. Mine is just Peyton Pritchard overperforming on a small deal. He signed that deal 2 years ago, right before their 2024 postseason run, I believe.
Yeah, when he was the fourth point guard on that team, and then
And that's what
everybody
I'm trying to
else.
say. He is way overperforming it. I want to say he's second on the team in scoring. He leads the league and he leads the team in 3-pointers made, and he is just balling. Now, I think there's only 2 years left on that deal. So once they get to that point, they have to pay more to keep him. But that's been a big godsend for them. They were able to get some guys and still keep Peyton Pritchard.
Okay, moving on to Brooklyn, which I know is a tough one. So let's just skim through it. I will say Michael Porter Jr. is being that guy right now who's the alpha on the team. And, well, yeah, by default, he's the one who's scoring and taking shots. But he hasn't phoned it in like Jordan Poole kind of did when he got shipped off to a bad
Or
team.
like Nick Claxton is right now.
Nick Claxton just has been completely underachieving. Noah Clowney, however, has been showing something.
Yeah, mine was Jordy Fernandez for not leaving for another job yet because he probably could have gotten an opportunity. We see this in baseball all the time where managers on a bad team and it's like you're just waiting for them to get a better job elsewhere. And but in the NBA, there are ironclad contracts now for coaches because they want compensation if they get traded. I don't think any team desperately wants a coach like Jordy Fernandez that much, but he has proven that he's a good X's and O's coach. He can coach defense. I know this team doesn't speak to that because they're probably the worst defense in the league, but I don't think it's Jordy's fault. I think it's just a really bad team with a lack of
No,
talent.
they'd be even worse without him, I think. Like if they had.
Oh, I think they'd be like a 10-win team. Yeah, I agree.
All right. New York Knicks, I said nothing really stood out for me, but the fact that they should be thankful is the fact they have a bench and they're actually using a bench as opposed to playing 6 to 7 people at most.
Yeah, mine speaks to what you said. The training staff, they've been able to keep the starters upright for 2 seasons. They have had injuries, but not that many. Not compared to other teams. They have I really want to say that their starters have averaged probably like 70 regular season games played each. And that's hard to do in the NBA. Now, will it crap out in the playoffs? I think so. That's my fear for the Knicks. That after 3 years of grinding like this with your starters, it might come back to get you. But the bench
Oh.
is big too.
Yep. Philly, they should be thankful for their guard play and their ability to really pivot seamlessly from the Embiid big man, everything has to run through him era,
Yeah.
realizing, okay, he can't do anymore. Yeah, you get lucky by getting the third pick and VJ Edgecombe, who just fits right in with Maxi. And
That was mine. That was mine. The NBA lottery gods. The likelihood of getting that pick, it wasn't like super low, but it was not great. And they got the number 3 pick and they got the right guy. They got VJ Edgecombe. They got a guy who fits perfectly with what Nick Nurse wanted to do. I got to give credit to Nick Nurse. I feel like in Toronto and now in Philly, when he gets the facility to run whatever he wants to run and they go get the guys for him, his teams win.
yeah, and he's also learned not to run them all into the ground like he
That's
did
what he did in
prior.
Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what he was kind of doing to Embiid, and now it's good to see again. Like I said, they were able to pivot off of that.
Also, Daryl Morey deserves a little bit of thanks. It's hard to imagine that you bring in Kelly Oubre and Trenton Watford, and you would think, oh yeah, they're going to get value out of those guys, but they have.
No, I don't give him credit because he put all his eggs in the Paul George, Joel Embiid.
That
The
was a
fact that
bad
they got
idea.
Edgecombe, it bailed them. If they didn't have Edgecombe,
They'd be in
this
trouble.
team, I don't think
Hmm.
we'd be having this same conversation. So, yeah, they could be thankful for him. Toronto, I will also go with a rookie. Well, outside of health, is that the fact that they're all healthy, and you could see sort of you could see what they're going for. Colin Murray Boyles. A lot of people questioned that pick of, well, he doesn't really fit in. Well, I don't get it. He's undersized, but he is being that guy right now who's earned minutes on this very I don't want to say this is probably the one of the hardest lineups to crack because considering they're all in their mind like
I
that
think
ready
this
that
season it is because of the starters there.
yeah, because the
You know,
starters are all young, they're all playing 30 some odd minutes. There's no like, well, we can have one guy play 27, 28 and sort of stuff people out. No, they have this is our swapping rotation. We got our thing and when if Pirtle's out, okay, yeah, you can mix things out, but he has come in and he is being that defensive guy
yeah.
they expected him to be.
They might rely on him more just in the event because I, as a New Orleans Pelicans fan, I dealt with this every year. There will be an eventuality that Brandon Ingram takes time off. And once he takes time off, they'll probably need Boyles. You feel bad for some of the other guys like Jamal Shed, John Mogbo,
Well, yeah, he's the one you should feel bad for because he was that guy last year, and all of a sudden
Jameson
he's
Battle. Jameson Battle doesn't get enough time. He's shooting, and I'm not even making this up. He's shooting almost 60% from three. Jameson Battle. Why aren't you
yeah.
playing him more?
Well,
But
because you got Grady Dick.
for me, the one that I would be most thankful for, it's actually a guy that they let go. Masai Ujiri put that team together. And the Ingram trade is not blowing up in his face. The RJ Barrett trade and quickly trade, even though they spent way too much money to bring back quickly, that is not blown up in their face. And I feel like they have a good squad. And I don't think he got enough credit.
Yeah, good for you, Jerry. It just time wore out from, but
I think he will resurface. Where I don't know, but I think he'll be back.
but yeah, it's good to see his vision finally, as opposed to this is what I wanted to do. And well, injuries like Brooklyn, like we got all these guys, but they couldn't all stay healthy together. They couldn't do it. This is what I plan on doing. And you could see it. Like, yeah, they might need a little more time to do it, but I understand their vision, which is
Hmm.
nice to see it finally come through. Moving on to the Central, let's just start with Chicago. We should just be thankful. Everything is turning up roses for them right now, and
For
everything is
me, I
wonderful.
don't know
And
who it is on their assistant side. It's whoever's coaching their guards. That I don't know how they're doing it. And I'm not saying Josh Giddey, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter. By the way, they can kind of thank the Kings too, because remember when they did that deal where Levine went to Sacramento, everybody poo pooed on the Bulls. All you got was Trey Jones, Kevin Werder. They're playing great. I just wonder who's coaching them up in terms of running sets, in terms of hiding their negatives, accentuating the positives. Like Trey Jones going to the rim a lot, getting to the free throw line a lot. Werder just posting for threes and cutting the rim when nobody's guarding him, and Giddey just being a force. Giddey is sort of like he's almost like a small Jokic. I know that sounds
and
crazy. Yeah,
we could also say Matas Bazelis was a great
a good
pickup,
pick. Yeah,
and
I
then
didn't
he's
like
continued
it.
to develop. I know you didn't like it, and I said, yeah, he's G League, and he was undersized. He needs a year to put bulk
Yeah,
on, and he's shown that, and that allowed them to move that terrible signing of Patrick Williams
but
to the
yet
bench.
they I
Where,
know it's early, but their success has not been a fluke. I think they actually are on track to be a playoff team.
oh no,
But
they're on track to be the Orlando Magic, where they started hot and then they finally fizzle out. One team that moving on next, the team that hasn't fizzled. I mean, yeah, they started, but Garland also finally came back
mm-hmm.
in early November. Cleveland Cavaliers. I said that Sam Merrill
Okay, okay.
just lighting up.
Mine is nerdy. The rookie max limit being changed in the new CBA a couple of years ago. Remember, it used to be 2. So for those who don't know, the rookie max, there used to be the rookie max used to have slots, and the maximum before the most recent CBA, it was 2. That was why Anthony Davis didn't immediately go to Boston, because they already had 2 guys on rookie max. That's the reason. Now they removed that. They basically said, okay, if you want 5 rookie max guys on your team, that's fine if you want to pay tax. Well, now they have, I think, 3 guys on rookie max, meaning Mitchell, Garland, and Evan Mobley. They wouldn't have been able to keep that team together under the old CBA rules. So I would just say allowing them to spend more money, which they have because they're the most expensive team in the league this year.
They are priced to win it or go to the
They're
finals, and
trying to. This is the year
anything
they
isn't
want to
is a
win.
complete disaster.
Hmm.
Detroit, I have everything is still, no pun intended, just motoring. You got Cade Cunningham, you got Jalen Duren, you got Asor Thompson. Take your pick from those three. Of they should just be happy that finally draft picks have worked out, and then this team is built now, and they didn't make stupid trades around them.
Yeah.
And Trajan Langdon came in and said, "Okay, let's slow this down. Let's still get it." As opposed to, well, we need to trade for DeMar DeRozan and get all these old guys. And nope, nope. Let's just
You,
keep
you,
going.
you
And it's
know,
nice to see.
you know where I think it changed? It changed in 2024 in the summer. Do you remember the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney, where his job was basically go around paid by other corporations to tell people that they were downsizing and that they were letting people go?
Okay.
That's what happened in Detroit. They finally started letting people go that had no business being in the front office, like Beeline. They finally got adults in the room to basically say, "Hey, we don't need 25 people up in the front office. We just need one general manager and let that GM pick the coach." They got JB Bickerstaff. They have one GM now. They're completely streamlined. Once they had one heartbeat and one vision, that team got much better because they really said, "Okay, we believe in Cade Cunningham. I know he's had injuries, but we believe in him." Jalen Duren, I think that they made a bad choice not getting him to sign a new deal before the season started, but they're going to pay for that later. Getting Ron Holland, getting Asar Thompson, they said these are our dudes. We need to go with these dudes, and they have not given up on that core, and it's working out for them. So, I give thanks to the people who knew that they had a lot of guys that they didn't need in the front office. That's all I'm going to say. Like, do you really think Monty Williams is still in the front office in Detroit, Adam? Let's be real.
doing something. You got to pay him. I wouldn't pay to have
I
him sit
understand that.
at
Like
home and
this is what the new NBA, where like if you want to fire a coach, you don't just fire him outright because you have more money on the books. Like instead, you just like, we're just gonna put you in the broom closet and give you an office job, and
just
that's what
do
happened to
desk
Monty
work.
Williams. Yeah, I
Go
don't think
scout
that
these players.
right. But what I'm saying is that I think the most important thing for Detroit is like they had too many cooks in the kitchen. They finally realized, all right, we just need one guy with one vision, and we just need the draft right. And they've drafted right, to their credit, for the last couple of years.
All right. Speaking of drafting, the team who's had very little draft in the past few years now. It's another recent draft pick. I'm moving on to the Indiana Pacers, who just heartbreaking, and we know this season will
Yeah.
be whatever it is. And Jarace Walker finally showing why he was a number 8th pick, because it was like, well, they need to get rid of him. He's costing this team first round high lottery money, and he hasn't done anything. And finally, with all the injuries and then shipping out Turner and bringing nobody in, he's shown, okay, there's a player there.
Right. Mine's more like I know it feels like a million years ago. The NBA Finals was this year, where the Pacers played the Thunder. Just thankful to Tyrese Halliburton for giving them great memories in the playoffs and all the clutch shots,
That's
being
the
able to.
thing to be thankful for this year is memories of previous years.
Yes, because it
There's
gave them
nothing
the
to look forward to.
well, Adam, I do think experience matters going forward. We just talked about the Pistons. You know why I think the Pistons are better? They hung tight with the Knicks in the playoffs. You need that experience. And I think getting all the way to the finals was good experience for them. And they weren't able to retain Miles Turner, unfortunately. That's been well publicized, but they've been able to keep guys like Aaron Nesmith and Aaron Drew Nemhard and Pascal Siakam. Like, all those guys are in the fold. And when they get good again, and I promise you, I think they will, when Halliburton's back, they'll be ready to go again. So I would just be thankful for what happened already. It's just thanks for the memories.
Okay. Moving on, Milwaukee. We could go a lot of different directions. We could say Giannis is thankful to have his brothers taking away 2 roster spots because he now can joke around those. No. Ryan Rollins, I'm going to say, is the bright spot for this team to look forward to. Yeah, you can say I don't want to say successfully pivoted to getting younger and more active with getting rid of Lillard and Brook
Mhm.
Lopez and bringing in
Yeah,
Miles Turner.
it wasn't a youth movement per se. I wouldn't call it
But
that.
Ryan Rollins has kind of been a bright spot that takes away one question mark, because it used to be, okay, you had Brook Lopez, you had, your bench, you had Bobby Portis in the bench, you had Middleton there, you had Giannis, but okay, you had Damon. Well, what happens when Dame's out? Well, there's nobody. Now you got somebody there of, okay, he can, Cole Anthony's as well. You got a
Yeah, he's a
nice
six man now. Yep.
serviceable point guard position to just go there and not be a negative asset.
Rollins, I had gotten more trust from Doc Rivers even while Damian Lillard was still playing there. The thing I've noticed about Rollins that he's taken a step up there is that he is a demon on defense. He averaged, I think, 2 steals a game. He is fierce on defense. Like his shots gotten a lot better. That's why he's staying on the court these days. But he's also defensively a pest. For me, mine's more of a reverse jinx. So follow me here. I would thank Glenn Rivers, but here's the thing: everybody knows the Glenn Rivers formula. If you praise him, he disappoints you. If you don't believe in him, that's when he exceeds expectations. So I give no thanks to Doc Rivers. No thanks at all. I think he's the worst coach the Milwaukee Bucks have ever had. And you
Okay.
can quote me. You can quote me on that. But I mean, listen, man, you were in Boston. You saw this. You saw this. Like, Doc Rivers, there's only one time that Doc Rivers had hefty expectations and he actually delivered. And that was in 2008.
Expectations are a thing, and some people can live up
Yeah,
to
but
them,
follow me
others
here. Follow
cannot.
me here. 2008 team was so good in Boston that he couldn't mess it up. He tried to, but he couldn't mess it up. His best teams are the ones that people are like, oh yeah, there's no way. Like the 2012 Celtics team, they're too old. There's no way. They almost got to the finals. It's the teams where everyone's like, oh yeah, Doc Rivers and Lob City, Doc Rivers and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, Doc Rivers and James Harden and Joel Embiid. Oh man, there's no way they could go wrong, and everything goes wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like Doc Rivers works in the shadows. That's when he's the most effective, in my opinion.
Good.
You know.
Moving on to the Southeast, Atlanta is a tough one. I had to think about this one. The team
Oh, I didn't.
is. Then I will let you start.
The New Orleans Pelicans for trading away Dyson Daniels and then giving him a first the next year. That's who they can thank.
It's like a reverse Chicago Bulls.
It's
where
a
you
fucking
just...
lifeboat, is what it is, Adam. They gave him a demon on defense, and they gave him a top 5 pick.
I was gonna say I went with Jalen Johnson. Of you gave him that 5-year, 150 deal, and he has looked injured last year, and was just like, well, what are we gonna have with him? And Daniels is the one who took over for him and became the MIP there.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson shoots a very high percentage. He is a very efficient player. Like when he plays,
on this team,
efficient.
I have to go with him because if you're gonna start building around something, this Daniels Johnson, Okongwu, maybe I don't know whether he's part of this now because you have that Porzingis thing. Yeah, Shea is there, and he's a nice solid point. Like, okay, we know we're good with him.
Mm-hmm.
But Atlanta, still so many question marks.
No,
Charlotte.
for me, I just wanted to say, like, I don't want to poo-poo on my Pelicans too much. It's just that you traded DeJounte Murray for Dyson Daniels, an amazing deal, and then you were the beneficiary of what was a very lopsided deal where you got an unprotected first for a team that'll probably finish in the bottom 10. That's it.
Yeah, but Atlanta also owes their pick to San Antonio.
You didn't get Derek Queen. You didn't get Derek Queen out of it. I mean, you gave up Derek Queen basically, but it is what it is.
Charlotte, I'm going to say the play of the rookies. You got 2 rookie starters in there, which Kalbrenner and Con Canupel. But Kalbrenner is sort of a shock of that he's the guy, and I believe at the time of recording, he's top 3 in blocks. Well, obviously behind Wemby is like so far ahead, so he's like I'll say top 2 non-Wemby, Wemby and a blocker.
I'll say this. When I was watching the NCAA tournament with friends, and there was this one who never watches college basketball, a tall guy, and he told me, "Who's that one?" And it was Creighton against Auburn. And I was like, "Which one?" He's like, "The tall one, the one for Creighton." I'm like, "Oh, that's Brian Kalkbrenner," and he just instinctively said, "That's the best player on the court." And I'm like, "Yeah, I like him." A lot of people just think he's a white stiff, but I think I like him. He's a good player. He really is. Like, I'm not surprised at him. He wound up in the NBA. I really don't. For me, it's LaMelo Ball's ankles. Like, if they can, be thankful that they're not completely broken.
They've held up this long, is what you're saying.
Correct.
So by the time this drops, he'll be out for 3 months. Now that you've jinxed it on this recording.
If the turkey gods have their way, no. But no, LaMelo's awesome, man. He's averaging like 8 assists, and he's always a contender for 30 points a game. So the Hornets there's something. This is one of the ones I struggle with, because the one I would say they're the most thankful for is Michael Jordan not owning the team anymore, because I felt like he was such a poor decision maker in the front office. That was the biggest problem that Charlotte had for years. It wasn't this core. It was Jordan being a terrible owner and GM, to be honest.
And I think although they didn't make many wholesale personnel changes on the court.
But the reason I say that, Adam, is look at every draft pick they've made after Jordan. Brandon Miller, good pick. Salon,
no.
Canupel,
jury's very out. Yes.
Canupel and Kalkbrenner, great picks. Zion
so
James,
far.
Good pick.
Yes, a very, very great second round pick. But I think it's more of the last year to this year, knowing the difference of we need adults in the room.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start being serious, and it's a lot different because their attitude is much different than it was. Although I could see LaMelo Ball checks out and thinks he's better than everything. And
it's possible.
But I think that they've started to take themselves seriously as opposed to just being dumb and kids.
There's more
urgency
now. There's more urgency now for sure.
All right, moving on to Miami, and I think we could both agree on this one, which I don't think I have high hopes for any other Same answers. I think it's the high pace of play that they were able to do, which we didn't know was possible for them.
Yeah. Mine is in tune with that. USA Basketball for hiring Eric Spoelstra as their head coach. I've noticed that when these guys get hired to basically run the US Olympic team, they're like, "Oh, I need new ideas." You know? So they're like opening up, "Hey, assistant coaches, is there anything we could do to spruce things up?" And the rumor is, I don't know if this is 100% confirmed. They brought in a guy who was on the Memphis assistant crew that had started that nose screen offense, where it's basically like fill the gap offense where nobody sets screens. Well, that's the offense Miami's running, but they're running it at warp speed. And they're getting production out of everybody. Like freaking Simone Fontecchio, Jaime Jaquez Jr. has been awesome. Help me out here. Who else has been really contributing for them? Andrew Wiggins. Like they've been getting good offense out of everybody on that squad.
They have, and that's what we said with our previews is we don't know how the roster would come together, but we didn't think they'd completely reinvent their offense.
I didn't.
So,
That is the biggest surprise of the season so far. That the Miami Heat are playing super fast. I did not expect that.
all right, Orlando. This is another one I had tough to find something because it's just been wholly a disappointment up there thus far. I would say this is sort of reaching is Tristan Da Silva has sort of broken out of that big long bench undercard and getting meaningful minutes at the end of games, getting the
Yeah,
trust of the coach. Because as we said, as I mentioned early on, even in the previews, like if Orlando gets out of the slow start, maybe Mosley could be the first to go.
it's possible. I mean, we talked about it ad nauseum in the team previews. So for anybody who wants to, they can always check them out. They are going to be in the tax next year. It's not a if, it's a definite. And so they have to prove to ownership that they're willing to pay the tax to keep this team together with Franz and Paulo and Bain and Suggs. Like they have to figure out at some point, Adam, in the next 2 months, like this is it. This is the team. There is no life preserver. There's no trade coming. Like you gotta win with this. And if it doesn't work, like you said, the coach goes. For me, I hate to keep it as a downer on a positive because we're supposed to be thankful, positive note. Mine is just the fact that the East is a little bit degraded. So the fact is Orlando can still get in the playoffs with like a 45 win team. They should be thankful for that. The
All
fact
right,
that all these other East champs got knocked down by injuries.
speaking of degraded and just
I thought we
not
were on a
much going
positive
on
note.
there. Washington Wizards, I'd say in the probably one of the weakest drafts in what 25 years. Alex Sarr looks like something who isn't just a replacement guy.
He's a blocks guy, man. He
He's a block
averages
play,
like
but
two
his
blocks a game.
offense is finally starting to come along, and
Mhm.
obviously it'll take work,
He's
and he's
in
still
my
developmental.
opinion,
But
he's a little too skinny. I wish he would just develop. He's like Anthony Davis. I just wish he would get just like maybe 20 pounds heavier. I think he would be a real force. Mine is self mockery because I said Ace Bailey would win Rookie of the Year, and I'm wrong about that. I think it's okay for me to say that in November. The Jazz were picking Ace Bailey first. They dodged a bullet there. In fact, there were reports Ace Bailey wanted to go to the Wizards at 5. Instead, they got Trey Johnson, and Trey Johnson's a good player.
he's good, but the rotation is still sort of questionable. He's getting missed, but I want to see more of Trey Johnson before I really start liking him.
He reminds
They're,
me of
they're,
now. Don't make fun of me, okay? He reminds me of Jordan Poole. He just immediately scores everywhere he goes.
but they have so many players of the same. They're two similar skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
For he's
Tyshawn
competing.
George is there, but he's similar to Koulibaly. Yeah.
Yeah, and they loved Koulibaly, and so the Koulibaly has good. You have Cam Whitmore who overachieves in bunches, and you just have Bub Carrington who's getting all the minutes, and
And then you
I
got these
don't
two
see
old
anything here.
farts in the front with the big contracts, McCollum and Middleton.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
whole
it's a
blocking
mess.
everybody's time. So I want to see him break out more, but I have to go with Alex Sarr of it wasn't a sunken cost because you're stuck with the second pick. You have to do something, and he seems to be a player you're not going to regret in a few years.
That's another guy who might want to be very nice on Thanksgiving, Brian Keefe, to be honest with you.
He doesn't. There's all he could do is he's just there to develop guys, and
I don't
hopefully
think
they
he's a
start
terrible.
developing.
I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to mock anybody. It's just that I can see a scenario where he's let go. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, I could easily see that too if they have, but there's no point of doing it now because there's no real.
There's no urgency, not compared to Charlotte.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the West, and I believe we are in unison here of going Dallas. Will agree. The positive note is there's no relegation. They have Cooper Flag, so they have 4 years, and Cooper Flag is good.
Yeah.
You can't play him at a point guard. That is the
Yeah.
stupidest thing to do, and this roster is just big.
They can be
You
thankful
can't.
that you know what? That's my thankful one. They're thankful for Procter and Gamble. That's who they're thankful for.
You got two centers and three power forwards on the court. Like it doesn't. No, Clay Thompson. Yeah, we know it at the end. Also, you forget like his contract. He's not making a ton
It's
of
not the
money.
worst it's not the worst contract. I think the problem is that even at the smallest amount of money at 18 mil for him, he's even below that talent threshold. Like
He needs to
he's
become the Kyle Korver.
is washed the right word to say, or is that too harsh? Jason Kidd's a good coach. He got to the finals. Brandon Williams is playing okay. Cooper Flag, when he's not turning the ball over a million times, he's playing well. I would
Yeah,
say
when he's not being a point guard, he's
in the
playing well.
rookie of the year race, he's probably in the top 3, and it's not even
And
close.
there's time for it to develop the time, and then they'll get healthy and things will be figured out. But just right now,
It's a lost year. I think it's fair to say it's a lost year at this point.
You got Cooper Flag.
Why aren't they thankful for Nico Harrison?
Let's just move on.org. Houston, I'm going to go with riding the Amen Thompson MIP train.
Mine's more general, but it's similar. Young guys willing to be coached really hard by Ime Udoka. You probably know this from when he coached for the Celtics and they got to the finals, and then he had a personal issue that got him let go. But Ime Udoka he does not mince words when he coaches. Like he coaches his guys hard. Like he pushes them hard. And it doesn't matter if you're also ran like Al Horford or you're a young pup. Like he's going to play you if you can keep up. And Udoka has been able to get really good production out of guys like obviously Amen, Tari Eason, even Steven Adams, an older guy, has been
Everyone
able to
but Reed
up.
Shepard. We had all been like, he's the point guard. He's taking
We talked about this a lot. We talked about this a lot when the preview started, and then Fred VanVleet's injury happened. Reed Shepard is in a really tough spot because there's no way he was going to be ready for that starting point guard position on a playoff team in the West.
But
that
nope,
was
that's
much. Yeah, mine is just more general, like having young guys, but not being like not having like an uproar over not getting as much minutes as they would like and everything like that. Cam Whitmore being shipped out to Washington helped with that. If Whitmore was still there, you might hear some rumblings of issues. But right now, I feel like Eason, Shepard, even Amen, all those guys, they're willing to play the game. They're willing to like rotate. And that's a big thing. That's what led to their success. They're one of the best offenses in the league.
Well, yeah. You also traded for one of the best scorers in the league, most efficient scorers. So
they're basically
no
like
they're
basically like a Towers offense. Like they just play nothing but size.
All right. Moving on to Memphis. Let's tread lightly. I just went with the scouting department. Cedric Coward of what do they trade him for this guy? They got Jalen Wells. What are you getting a guy who is going to be the backup to your guy you found last year? Then it's just, oh no, he's good, and just don't doubt that scouting department.
Yeah, you know who they need to thank for. Need to thank in that case, specifically in the case of Coward. They need to thank the NIL portal for not being able to pony up the money for Coward because he went to Washington State. He had an injury. He was going to Duke. It was set. He goes to the combine. He wows everybody. And I would bet that it turned into this like wager between, hey, how much can I get in NIL from Duke versus how much can I get on a rookie contract if I'm first round? Once he found out he was first round, Zach Kleiman said, I'll draft you. That was it. He went to the NBA. He's been great. He's been great. And
Basically,
he's
that was sort
contributed.
of the fall off line was the 20th pick, I believe, because it was what was it Lundenberg who went to Michigan,
Yaxel Lindeberg. Yeah,
who
yeah.
transferred to Michigan, and you had Coward, who's like
Because he was going to be late first, and that
he was
wasn't
going to
good
be
enough.
late first. And it's like, well, I don't want to slide into the second,
Yeah,
which could happen. And
mine is similar to what you said, and it has to involve Zach Kleiman. He just being ready to reboot if they have to ship out Morant. Like if they trade Morant, it's not like, oh, we gotta blow it up now. It's not that way at all. In fact, they might actually be better if they unload him.
okay, I'll just let you take the floor for your New Orleans Pelicans. You have to have something good to say. Something. Come on.
Derek Queen has actually been good. Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears. I am thankful for how talented they are individually. I hate what we sacrifice to get them both. I do. But
That's what
they're
I
good.
also went with is the rookies are looking good. So is if New Orleans gets like the seventh or eighth pick, would Derek Queen, if he went back to school, been like the eighth pick again? Probably.
Yeah, maybe higher, but because of that one and done like
Like
log
he's
jam,
what you traded your first for. So if that first comes in
they
to
loved
be
him. They loved him, and he's gotten high marks from
so like
Hall
yeah,
of
if you're
Fame
Detroit,
guys and analysts. People like him. People think he can pass and he can shoot, and he's got nice moves. Talk about Queen. Fears is man, I'm trying to find a good I'm trying to find like a guy like a really awesome ball handler in the NBA who has like a really nice dribble but his shooting is still not there. Like a comparison there. That's who he reminds me of. Like he's just a point guard who can really make you look silly. He's got talent and they're gonna play. My other one I was thinking of for being thankful for if you're the Pelicans is having low expectations in a football town. If they were the big game in town,
oh, it's just
their
let's
lease is
not
coming up in 2028.
let's not get into
And
that because that's
when
a
we
whole
I
sore
mean,
subject.
that has been talked about between New Orleans and Memphis because they were the last two to relocate, I believe. And or not counting Oklahoma City. And there have been talks of well, and we know listen, this is a sidebar, okay? This has nothing to do with Thanksgiving. The owners would love to have relocations instead of expansion teams. It keeps their revenue pot bigger. If they have two extra
That's
teams, your pot is smaller. So of course there's going to be these trickle out reports of, hey, I heard the Pelicans might leave New Orleans and we could just put them in Seattle. Well, duh, that means your revenue stays the same.
that's another story for another day, but I would they're probably better off. She should take the money. Take the
Yeah.
4 billion. San Antonio, we could just skip and say it's Wembanyama
Webinyama
being
for
healthy.
existing.
Yeah.
Webinyama for existing.
I tried hard to find a second one, like, but no, everything
Can I give you
revolves through him.
even though this was a more of a health event, it was not a Greg Popovich showing Mitch Johnson the ropes right before he left. Like it wasn't one of these situations where he was like, "No, I still like Bobby Bowden. Like, yeah, I'm having health problems, but I still want to coach." Like he didn't do that. He was very graceful about it. In fact, when they put his banner up, he didn't want a ceremony when he retired.
Well,
They
in
put
his
that's
that's
how he
par for the
does it.
course for him.
But it was nice of him to let Mitch Johnson learn for that year, and I think it's paid off because I think Mitch has been ready for the task as this season has gone along. But Wembanyama just being Wembanyama, that's what you're thankful for right now.
Okay. So let's move on to the Northwest. We could go with Jokic as the easy answer for Denver, or
Yeah,
I can go.
mine was Aaron Gordon.
Okay, that is a good one. That he's
Just recommitting as a complimentary player.
yeah redefined his role on his own terms
Correct.
and not been like, "Why are you guys doing this?"
Had injuries, had tragedy in his personal life, didn't let none of it get in his way. Just played ball.
I'm gonna go with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bruce Brown. They have a bench now.
Mm-hmm.
They
Hardaway's 3-point shooting has been off the charts.
they haven't had it. That was the issue of they didn't have a bench, so you had to play Jokic 45 minutes, and you had to play all these guys Now, Cam Johnson, he's another one. The stats aren't going to reflect what he's doing because his number, like if you just look at the stats, he looks terrible. Like what is he doing? He's only getting like 8 points and he's not shooting. And but
Yeah.
he's there facilitating everything. And you have these two bench guys who weren't there. It was just a very top heavy team that you had to play the five starters.
Yeah.
Now you can give them a break, which we haven't seen, which makes a lot of the media go, they're dangerous.
The Pelicans are a bad team, but you play every game and you watch every team. And that was one of the games where the moment the Pels played, I knew 5 minutes in, Adam, it was over. Like, you just have a confidence watching other teams where you're like, "Oh man, this is not even going to we're not even going to tease a victory here." Like we're the Nuggets are that kind of team. They're that kind of team. The Thunder are that kind of team. The Celtics last year were that kind of team where like you just knew you were going to get housed. Yeah, like for mine, it would be Aaron Gordon. I do like this idea. I was thinking about this, especially since we were talking about eating on Thanksgiving. Is that talking about how Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. They don't have like the gaudiest numbers and stuff, and that there are guys with gaudy numbers but they don't contribute much, and like they always call them empty calorie players. I wonder if we should just start calling these other ones where their stats don't look great, but they contribute. We can call them high protein players. What you think of that?
Fancy.
Fancy, huh? Someone's going to steal that when they listen to this.
All
High
right.
protein players.
Moving on to Minnesota, which is kind of tough because
It's the same team for the last 2 years. Yeah.
they ran everything back. They had to get rid of their bench due to salary concerns. Drafting was for the future. I thought they drafted well. I'm going to go with Jaden McDaniels, who was just a 3-and-D guy who was very good at 3-and-D. He
Yeah.
found some offense this year.
Yeah, he can make threes now. His blocked shots per game is now really rose up. Mine was a little simpler. Rudy Gobert, he just has not fallen off yet as not only a starting center, but especially as a defensive center. He's just still to this day. He was drafted in 2013. That means he's been in the league for at least 13 to 12 seasons. He has not fallen off yet. He's still an elite center in the NBA. And that's hard to do at his age.
Moving on to the free throw merchants in Oklahoma City.
Mine is simple, the new physicality era. And it's not a new we don't have to like trademark the new era. It's more in the vein of what happened in the playoffs where there was a lot of criticism about how there were just too many free throws, like you were just saying about the free throw merchant, Seagulls, Alexander. And it feels to me like the NBA is starting to let this kind of bleed into the regular season. It's like, hey, we need to let things get a little touchy-feely, more physical. We can let stars go to the free throw line and get their free throws, but we can't just like do ticky-tack fouls on everything. We got to
We
let
can't
things
just stop
go.
the game and just have the
Correct. We
flow
got to
be killed.
we got to let things roll. And
We're a highlight league. Free throws aren't
and
highlights.
and the Thunder have done that. The Thunder have, I don't want to say they've embraced it. I think the Detroit Pistons have embraced it for sure in the East, but the Thunder, they christened it. They were like, hey, we got the horses. We will push you on screens. We will butt you in on and take charges in the paint. Like we will push off. Like that's something Shea has become a master at, the jab step, push off in the mid range. Like we will do these things if they let us get away with it. And it's not cheating. Let's be fair. It's not cheating. It's just you have to monitor the way the referees and the league is patterning things, and the moment you see a trend, you hit that trend. And that's what the Thunder did first. They said, okay, we're going to get physical. We're going to do the Olivia Newton-John.
I just went no playoff hangover.
Not yet.
Teams usually start slow and have to sort of battle back, and they're like, nope, they're just continuing where they were.
You're not afraid of Shea playing the Olympics, having the full MVP season, doing the trifecta and all, and then going a full year again?
It's a long season, but for now they're all healthy, and that's what they want. I believe that was one of the contributing factors to them winning was all their starters did stay healthy at the end, whereas every
For
other
the
team
most part, yes. And
Yeah,
also, and also to be fair, because of their depth, and shout out, thankful for Sam Presti, they had the depth so that if they had an injury, they could plug the holes. Now, in 2027, are they going to have the roster to pull that off? I don't think so. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
all right. Moving on to Portland. Mine is quite simple. Denny Avdija. It was the fact that Washington jettisoned him out as quick as they possibly could because that regime didn't draft him, and he has just lit everything up. And terrible trade.
Okay. I have a jokey one and I have a real one. I'll give you both, okay? And you choose for me. My jokey one is the feds for arresting Chauncey Billups, who clearly was throwing games.
Too soon.
Okay. My real one is Drew Holiday for playing ball. Like, he has not given up yet. This is just, maybe Adam, this is just in Drew Holiday as a player. This is just how he is. Where it's like,
maybe he could just be healthy, and he wasn't healthy
the
last
only
year.
time I saw him like that was in New Orleans, to be honest, where he was just kind of like mentally checked out.
Well,
But that was
mentally
it.
checked out. Well, that's the New Orleans way, but no, he
Well,
was.
can I give you one thing that actually is real? His wife went through cancer, and it was a very tough thing that happened while they were in New Orleans. So I wonder if that was one of the reasons why he wasn't always like ready to go, because he had like a heavy heart and
Well,
everything like
yeah,
that.
and New Orleans was like, hey, take what time you need, which was
Correct.
obviously the right thing to
But
do. But
Milwaukee helped win a title. Boston, determined, helped win a title. Kind of fell off the second year. Right
yeah,
now
that's
in
what I said. Maybe
Portland, he's playing well.
that's why I was like, maybe he was just, we know he was injured last year, but maybe he was injured more than anybody knew, more he let on of just.
It might be vengeance factor. Like, he might be mad he got dumped, and given up on. But yeah, Thiago Splitter's been great. Thiago Splitter as the coach has been fantastic. I was being jokey about Chauncey. It's just that sometimes if you just get a fresh voice in there, it just helps.
Speaking of fresh voices, Utah got a fresh voice and decided to reboot the reboot Erdian process. And I'm gonna go with them. Return of marketing to his form.
Mine is Laurie Marketing, because he's the one player that they could probably get value out of if they have to do that.
And sort of the shocker is just starters minutes right now for C. Mikayak. Like what? He was just an afterthought everywhere he's been, and all of a sudden, like we're gonna put him in, and he's sort of
They're
the
just
glue
playing.
guy.
Their offense has been good to start. I don't know if it'll stay that way. We'll see when we get there. But like, it's a pretty bad team. I don't have any trouble saying right now that Utah's a bad team. And Will Hardy, I don't think is a bad coach, but
No, he's too good. That's the problem. Is they have to create fake injuries because he's been too good.
yeah, maybe they are thankful that BYU is in Utah. They're in Utah, right?
Yeah, there.
So they don't
They
have to
just got a
travel too
hockey
far to watch
team. They got the
Mammoth.
Utah
Yeah,
Mammoth
the
from
Mammoth. They
Phoenix,
got
and
the Utes. The Utes might go to the playoff. Maybe.
no,
Question mark.
no.
Who else? What am I missing? They don't have a baseball team, of course. The Olympics were there, and they're going back.
They got skiing.
They got skiing. The thing that is like, they really like the Bansa. They've been in love with the Bansa for like 2 years. So like that they can clearly just scout him in state.
The injuries need to start piling up as we
It's
speak.
coming.
Moving on to the Pacific right now. Starting with Golden State, you could say the health is good. Everybody's been healthy, but I'm going to go with the find of Will Richard in the second round.
Yeah, the national champion player from Florida, who's actually surprised and played a lot of minutes. He kind of reminds me of what Gary Payton II became for them, and what Pajemski was for them, where it's like on Quinn Post, where Kerr just falls in love with a certain player, and that's it. Like, once you're in the fold, once Draymond and Steph love you, you're in the fold. Steve Kerr might want to cover his ears though for mine, and mine is that the Warriors should be thankful that John Kaminga, after holding out all offseason, came ready to play and fit and wasn't pouting at all. He's actually playing very well for them.
Okay.
In a contract year, mind you.
Yeah, no arguments there of, and I guess you could say that you could lead to questions of, well, why wasn't he playing before? Like,
Hmm.
why all of a sudden he didn't just mysteriously find all this talent? It's he's actually getting the minutes as opposed to being buried, and everyone knew he was being buried. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a good story. Moving on to the Clippers, I'm gonna go with the bench. We got guys giving solid minutes, so no,
Derek Jones
ev-
Jr. Yep.
everyone on this elderly lineup isn't
Oh
being
man.
forced to play 40 minutes. Everybody seems to be in a nice little, I don't want to say minute rotation when you're playing 33, 35, but you don't need to say, Harden, I need you for 46.
Yeah.
You could just say, all right, everybody gets a breather, which will pay off in the end of the year.
I was just gonna say that in LA and in Florida, I know that's the hub for anti-aging clinics, and they are very thankful that they're in Los Angeles so that they can bring their starting lineup over there to try to get those special knee injections so they don't have to go all the way up to Canada to get it done. They've struggled at times. I will say this might be a hot take, but I do think that whole connection involving Ty Lue and the Billups stuff is a problem. It's a dark cloud along with the what's the name of that fake company that Kawhi was associated with? But yeah, like that's gonna be a problem. They're gonna host the All-Star game. They're thankful for that because that's the one I'll say. Because the fact that they're hosting the All-Star game is delaying their punishment for the Kawhi Leonard under the table pay bullshit. I don't think this is a title team. I really don't. Like if they win the if they
Aspiration.
aspiration, yeah. Well, I hope they're not aspiring to go to the finals because they're not going.
Okay, moving on to the Lakers. I can
Nico
take
Harrison, easy, 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 easy. That's the answer for 2 more years. As long as Luka Doncic is wearing their colors, because Nico Harrison thought he was fat. That's all it was. And Luka's going to eat really well on Thanksgiving because he's eating the league right now. He's averaging like 37 points and 10 assists.
Yeah, you just made him motivated,
Yeah,
which
stupid.
it,
And let me tell you this, man. And I'm not trying to say, like I'm not trying to be one of those like, hey, don't make fun of fat people. There's a lot of great fat players in football and basketball, like baseball. Like I was watching a lot of the World Series. I was watching this guy. His name was Rob Naylor. That man must have been 300 pounds. He makes $25 million a year and nobody bats an eye to it. Are you kidding me? Like, I understand being fit in basketball is important, but there's Derek Queen is a plump dude and he's pretty good. I like him. I'll take my fat guy if he's good.
all right, fair. No comment there.
You didn't
Um,
have anybody to be thankful for the Lakers?
yeah, I was getting to that. I was trying to move on from your fat talk there. But no, we'll have the awkward transition. Obviously, it has to be Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
You could say that Austin Reeves has single-handedly made the team forget about LeBron because LeBron had such a high usage rate of, well, who's going to take it? Austin Reeves like, yeah, I'll bottle all that up and take it with me, as opposed to, well, we could have a couple here, a couple there, we could
You
move
know,
things
you know who he
around, and
plays like? You know who he plays like, but because of the whole white to white comparison, nobody wants to say it. James Harden. He actually plays like James Harden. He's got all the tricks to get to the line. He can rebound, and he can score 20 easily. He's just like James Harden. Now he doesn't have the moves James Harden. James Harden was revolutionary with his moves, but Austin is very good. Like he's offensively, he's very good. Defensively, he's terrible. But that goes without saying.
okay, moving on to Phoenix. Very tough situation. I could say they could be thankful for no expectations and an owner who appears for at
Yeah.
least 1 month not to hit the panic button,
Yeah, I would not be
knowing
thankful for Matt Ishbia, right? Yeah, that's.
he
I think he's the problem, to be honest with you.
he is the problem. The same way the last team, Sacramento, has an owner who is also the problem. But I think this year, and even Brooklyn had an owner who's a problem.
Yeah.
of we need
Now, which one are
to
you talking about, Josiah or Prokhorov?
poker off.
Prokhorov was bad. He was a bad owner.
But knowing I need to take a step back, I went too far into it.
Hmm.
Is an
Um,
awareness is a good thing. No, it's if you watch them, they're moving things around, and we just thought, all right, you got a couple defense players first in Brooks and Dunn. You got Jalen Green, who's injured from the get go.
he just came back. Yeah.
It's going to be just Booker jacking up 33s and he's going to go for the scoring title. But no, they're actually moving the ball around,
Hmm.
and that's what I like to see.
Their
Is that
rotation of bigs is actually making sense. They actually
the
play based
team
off of the
they're
foul
playing
trouble and the roles. Yeah.
yes, they're playing roles. They're playing team ball, which there has been no team ball in Phoenix for a couple years. That's what I like. As
Yeah.
far as the results,
Mine's more individual, but Devin Booker just not like completely giving up on a cursed franchise. I feel like the Suns have been around since 1970, but I've always felt like they've just had a bad like a black cat like always crossing their paths. Like every single time even the year that they got to the finals because they had a bunch of injuries for the opponents in front of them. Like they still didn't win the title. Like it's always like something's always wrong with the Suns, and Devin Booker has not quit yet because I mean, there's a monetary reason when you're with the same team for over 10 years, nobody can give you more money than your hometown team. But the other thing too is that they said, all right, the Kevin Durant thing didn't work. The Beal thing was a failure. We're just going to put the ball in your hands and you can run the show. And they gave him a coach that trusts Booker to do that too. And
mm,
he hasn't said, there's a lot of players, John Morant recently, Beal in Washington. There's probably a couple other stars I can think of over the last few years where they just like give up. They're just like, man, I don't think I can win here. Booker hasn't done that yet. He
all
can
right.
whenever he wants, but he hasn't.
Speaking of giving up, oh, it's another one. This is a hard one to end on, but I mean, we ended the East with Washington, I believe, and we got to end the West with Sacramento. Do you have anything positive?
The Chicago Bulls for showing them that you can be a marginally decent team with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. They
But
just
they're
copied
not
it.
marginally decent.
The
They're
thing I don't like about it is that I feel like DeRozan and LaVine are almost in this pact where they're like, hey, I know what you're going to do. You know what I'm going to do. We've played together for 3+ years. Let's just run our shit. And that's fine. But you also have one of the most blessed offensive centers in the league, and you're not letting him run the fucking ball, and Demonis Sabonis. And I feel
mhm.
like you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. They also
I
don't
have
draft well. They fucked up the Mike
no.
Brown firing. They fucked
Yep.
up the De'Aaron Fox trade. Like,
Yep.
it's a mess. I mean, Vivek is just one of the worst owners in professional sports. I don't know what else to
I
say.
mean, it's amazing they didn't give up any firsts. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, don't they have most of, if not all
They
of their
probably
future
lost the.
capital?
Adam, do you want to hear what's even worse? They may have lost the Levine trade because they gave up Kevin Werder in it, who's now playing well for the Bulls. And what's Zach LaVine? An empty calorie scorer.
I went with I went with the energy of Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
At his stage of his career, but well, he's still putting up triple doubles, and he wanted to stay in Denver, but Denver owners management was like, no, we don't want you here because you don't fit because you cost us games. And it seems a little bit different this year where he knows he's not chasing
I think he's at
championship.
that
And
twilight point where he can. Now, here's the thing about Russ. He's such a competitive player. He's such a hard-nosed player that I don't think he'll ever recognize that his career is coming to an end, because he's always just going to be looking for opportunities to play until he can't play anymore physically. But the thing about Russ is that I do think he's at a point where he can recollect on his career because he's played almost like 18 years, and I think it's okay to say that. But I am amazed at how driven he is to keep playing. That really is incredible. I will ask you this. So he has 200
but
triple doubles.
I was
Uh-huh.
gonna say it was like the Carmelo Renaissance after he was that malcontent of I'm still the guy.
This is
Beal
better
was
than
it.
that. This is
Westbrook
better than the
is,
Mellow one.
and Westbrook is just like, you know what? I am happy to play basketball.
Yeah.
That's what I seem to
I
get
think
from. I could be
I
wrong.
think what's important about Russ too, and this is underrated about him, coaches love Russell Westbrook. The only coach that really didn't like him was Darvin Ham, because Darvin
And
Ham didn't want him in LA.
Coach
All
LeBron.
the other neither, but every other coach has liked him. Like Mike Malone loved him. That's why he played him so much.
Well,
And
Darvin Ham said, "You made me gut this whole team to get him, so I had no bench.
yeah,
I
you know,
was you screwed
it was
me."
more of a managerial thing. Let me ask you this question. So he's at 200 triple doubles. He might get a couple more by the end. I'm sure he will. Jokic is obviously at a point where he probably averages like 25 to 30 triple doubles a game. Do you think Jokic can catch up with Russell Westbrook at the end of this season? He's at 170 right now.
Probably not,
I think maybe in 27 he will, and he'll be the
because
triple double king.
Westbrook's still getting points, and
He'll get a couple triple doubles. He'll scratch some out in Sacramento. I'll tell you, who's not thankful for Russell Westbrook being there? Dennis Schroeder.
yeah,
He
but
won't even talk to the guy.
Schroeder's still getting his minutes. He's not.
He is.
He hasn't been just thrown to the wolves, if you will.
Right. That's true.
So yeah, we went through every team. We found something positive. I try to keep you. I know there were some you're just like, I'm ready to go negative. I got nothing
Yeah.
good.
I talked about the feds. I talked about fat
I could
people.
say this one good thing, but there's a lot of negative. No, this is the time to be like, okay, we need to find something, a positive takeaway for each
It's
team.
one of the very few days in the season where the NBA plays no games. It's just that time where you can just kind of like relax, recollect, reflect. Hopefully no one gets fired in the off day. That's what I hope.
Well, because we know nothing happens until Christmas. Christmas is when teams start playing. This is when the season. This is all just sort of jockeying for rotation minutes. Their teams are figuring out what works, what doesn't. We got this nice 20-game stretch to find our
We're not
footing.
even at the point. We're not even the point of the guaranteed contracts. I really want to say that's in early January, right? Where you can start trading the contracts. So we're not even there yet.
So, all right. Well, as always, for Andrew Reich, I'm Adam Murray. Have a good one.
Happy Thanksgiving.